Hi everyone, it is me again, and for my second topic, I will discuss language and variation. Right. So I will be discussing with you language and variation. Yes. Okay. So what do we expect to learn? So this report will cover the following. We will cover a lot. Same thing with our first topic. So yeah, I will give you a glimpse on what is language, even though I have this shared a definition on my first discussion, but yes. Then language variety. Then third is language variations. And my friend Gecko is on my background. Okay. So work from home perks, online learning perks. Okay. So yeah, so you have language variations. Number one is standard language, non-standard language, dialect, register, pidgin, crayol, lingua franca, diglossia, and style. Yeah. So this guy right here, he says he is excited to learn. And thank you, Gecko, and I'm sorry for disturbing your sleep. Okay. So yes, language, kidding aside, let's discuss this right away. So language is a system of arbitrary signals, your voice, sounds, gestures, and written symbols. Okay, arbitrary signals. Then it is a tool for uniting or dividing people. So language is very powerful. Okay, it dies, changes, and it is not passive. Yes, it is not passive because we tend to communicate a lot. Okay, so that is the power of language, because in terms of uniting or dividing people, we tend to say things that would unite a couple or say things that would divide or break a couple. So we have to be careful with our words. Okay, next. What is language variety? So it is a specific language or specific form of language used by a particular community. So that is language variety. Take note, particular community. Language used by a particular community. Okay. Then in social linguistics, in our class, a variety is also called a lect. It is a specific form of language or language cluster, lect. And you will know lects later, right? Then we go now to the language variations, since they are 9. Okay. So number 1 is standard language. It refers to a mode of usage of most educated speakers of a language and established as the prestigious form of that language. Okay. So according to our friend here, Girly, okay, I am a teacher and I speak standard language. So when we say standard language, we normally use this when we are professionals in an office, in a particular profession, let's say, for example, in school, okay, in an academe. So we use academic language or standard language, the way we normally see, for example, on letters, documents, memos, okay, that is standard language. Same thing with thesis and stuff, okay. Then we go now to the non-standard language. So the term non-standard was originally used by linguists to refer to language varieties that had previously been labeled with terms such as vulgar. So it's the opposite of the standard language. So when we say non-standard, these are the things that are not pleasing to hear, okay? Yeah, like the symbols that you see here on Girly's end. Okay. Yes. So we normally hear non-standard language at home or with our friends or with our community, but non-standard, okay, does not use formal language like that of standard language. Okay, so know the difference between the two. Then third, we have the dialect. So you hear now the word lect, okay? So it is a language variety according to its users. So we are different users. I am different user to you. Okay, so that's why we have dialect. So it involves differences in terms of vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation of a language. So yes, girly, you are right. I heard there are 3 types of dialects. Yes, you are correct. So we have here, okay, dialect can be classified into 3. We have the regional dialect or the regiolect, then social dialect or the sociolect, and individual dialect or the idiolect. So let us discuss first regional dialect. So it is a distinct form of a language spoken in a particular geographical area. Okay, so like when you live in Cebu, you speak Cebuano. You live in Iloilo, you speak Ilonggo. So that's regionalect. Then we go to social dialect. It is a social class that is mainly used to define groups of speakers as having something in common. So we have here social class. So for example, if you belong to the high class, so you speak differently. When you belong to low class, you speak differently. That is social left. You are being regarded according to which social class do you belong. Then third is the idiolect or the individual dialect. It is a linguistic pattern regarded as unique among speakers of a person's language or dialect. Okay, so that is unique to you as a person. You only know that. You have that unique way of speaking. That's idiolect. Okay, so again, when we say dialect, language variety according to its users and can be identified according to regiolect, sociolect, and idiolect. Okay. Then we move forward to accent. Yes. So dialect and accent, they are actually related, okay? Because when we say accent, it is a way of pronunciation which is influenced by his or her region, social class, and gender. Okay? So the way you speak your dialect, either you are regiolect, sociolect, or idiolect, you have different accents, all of those 3. Okay? Way of pronunciation, that is an accent. All right? Then we go to the 4th language variation. It's called register. So it is a conventional way of using the language that is appropriate in a specific context. Okay? It could be identified as situational, occupational, or topical. So we have here girly. She said situational, yes, because you only use this language according to what is appropriate in a specific context. So you vary, okay? So according to Trudgill, linguistic varieties that are linked to occupations, professions, or topics have been termed as registers, okay? So that's according to Trudgill. So in register, we have 2 terms related to it. We have jargon and we also have slang. So jargon refers to a special words or expressions that belong to a specific profession or activity. Okay, jargon can be used in both written and spoken context. Jargon is not informal and can be used in a professional context. On the other hand, it's the opposite. Okay, when we say slang, it is colloquial variety of language that is used in highly informal situations. Okay, so slang is only used in the spoken language, and slang is informal and cannot be used in a professional context. Okay, so register can be classified into jargon and slang. So jargon, say for example, the one that you use in medical field, okay, and slang is just the casual way or day-to-day conversation or day-to-day language that you use, okay? So for example, you have set of medical terms. Let's say, for example, you are a nurse, okay? So you use, let's say, for example, use terms like parts of the brain, medical terms on the brain. So we only know like the frontal lobe, those stuff like that. We only know here as the forehead, like that. Okay, so jargon, okay, it's only existing in a group of people. Okay, so teachers have their own jargon, medical workers have their own jargon and stuff. So slang, we do not use this in formal language and only in spoken. Okay, then we go to number 5, pidgin. So what is a pidgin? It is a new language which develops in a situation where speakers of different languages need to communicate but don't share a common language. Okay, so the vocabulary of a pidgin comes mainly from one particular language called the lexifier. Okay, so when we say pidgin, okay, speakers of different languages need to communicate but don't share a common language. So it's when I'm a Filipino and I'm talking to a French. Okay, so let's say for example we don't know how to speak English. Okay, so we have to create a language, both of us. We have to come to terms, okay, that is unique to both of us in order to understand each other. That's pidgin. Okay, then we go to pidgin facts. So it is a language with no native speaker. Yes, it's true. And second, it is no one's first language, but it is a contact language. Contact language because in a sense that you create this language because you wanted to understand each other because you came from different walks of life. Okay. Then we go to number 6, crayol. So in here, pidgin and crayol are actually related because when two pidgin speakers marry and their children start learning pidgin as their first language, and it becomes the mother tongue of a community, it is then called as crayol. So say for example, I'm a Filipino, then I married that French guy that I talk, then we created, of course, the pidgin. Okay, then that's it. If it becomes our children's first language, mother tongue of a community, then it's already a Creole. Okay, so Creole has its own grammatical rules, unlike pidgin. So Creole facts. Number 1, it is not restricted in use and is like in any language with its full range of function. And examples of Creole can be Gula, Jamaican Creole, and Hawaii Creole English. Okay, so to learn more about them, I prepared a video that you will watch moments from now. Number 7, we have lingua franca. It is a language which is used habitually by people whose mother tongues are different in order to facilitate communication between. It may refer to as a trade language, a contact language, or an international language. So lingua franca, we create this, okay, to understand each other. So pidgin earlier, like I said, my example, I'm a Filipino and I talk to a French guy. We don't know how to speak English, so we create a lingua franca. That is, pidgin. Then pidgin, when we got married, for example, we had kids, then the first language of our kids is a pidgin, then that makes it a Creole. So these 3 are related to each other. So that makes it, yes, girly, you're correct, crazy. Okay, so here is the video. So please take a look at this. Okay, so I will end it there. But yes, I hope that in this short video, you were able to identify the three: pidgin, creole, and lingua franca. And yes, I would like to correct myself. Earlier, I gave only two languages, Filipino language and the French, when it could be normally the requirement to make a pidgin is three languages, okay? So that's just my example to show a difference between the three. But thank you for this video to give us more enlightenment. Okay, so let's continue. We are now on number 8, diglossia. Okay, so according to Ferguson, it is relatively a stable language situation in which, in addition to the primary dialect of the language, there is a very divergent, highly codified, superposed variety. Okay, like if we group ourselves, or if we group into 4 languages like Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino language, among those 4 languages, there's this high superposed variety. Like among the 4, maybe let's say for example Korean will stand out, and the least would be Filipino language. So that's the glossia right there. Okay, like when we create a pidgin, normally we would adapt first. Our priority would be, most of us know how to speak Korean. I am a Japanese, I am a Chinese, I am a Filipino, but I know how to speak Korean, so we follow Korean. So that is the glossia right there. Okay. Then lastly, we have the style. So this is divided based on speech or speaking situation. Thus can be classified as formal or informal. Yes, it is crazy because formal and informal, formal style, we pay more careful attention to how we are speaking. Informal is the opposite, when we pay less attention. Formal, we use formal style in official documents, books, newspapers, etc. Informal, it is described as casual style. Formal, like classroom discussion, debates, political campaigns, etc. Informal, we use it in everyday conversation. So that's the difference between formal and informal style. So that ends my discussion on language and variation. We have our references here. Introduction to Social Linguistics by Ronald Duardo, 2006 edition. Then we have 2 links, SlideShare, okay? So citation is the key, really. So thank you for these references, for giving me an enlightenment on my topic on language and variation. And yeah, thank you for listening, and see you on my last discussion on what's my last topic? Language and ethnicity. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.